G'day everyone and welcome to the weekly weather update. Well, we're going to have a look at the aftermath of Superstorm Sandy and also what's coming up for you in the week ahead. Well, it's called the city that never sleeps, but it certainly slept over the last week. Hurricane Sandy and later Superstorm Sandy ripped through the American Northeast this week, killing nearly 50 people, doing tens of billions of dollars in damage and cutting the power to over 8 million customers. In addition to this, Sandy's storm surge flooded the New York subway system, shut down air and rail transportation to New York City, and started a fire that burned an entire neighbourhood of over 100 homes to the ground. This here picture from Queens. It wasn't just wind and rain either. Up to 100 centimetres of snow fell on the higher elevations of West Virginia and Maryland. Even Charleston, West Virginia, they're only 299 metres above sea level. They ended up with 25 centimetres of snow. That shatters the old record for an October snowfall of 7 centimetres, dating way back to 1961. The New Zealand Herald heard from several Kiwis that were in New York when Sandy hit. One of them, 23-year-old Sarah Knowles, said she's glad she didn't have a TV set so she wasn't able to watch the destruction. She said she hadn't been able to watch the news reports, that it was scary, but she also said that it was good not seeing the images of the tremendous flooding. Ms Knowles was holed up in her Upper West Side apartment with two other Kiwis, Thomas Walker and Anthony Walton. Ms Knowles said, and I quote, "There's howling winds and rain, but there's not the floods which are happening 4 blocks away from us." Weatherwatch.co.nz head analyst Philip Duncan was well south of the New York City when Sandy hit. He was in Atlanta, Georgia at the headquarters of CNN. That gave him a front row seat to watch the coverage of Sandy. He said that Sandy did exactly as the computer models predicted and a little more. Early estimates put the price tag of Sandy's damage at $50 billion US, which is just enormous. Well, back here in New Zealand, October was a cool one for much of the country. Preliminary numbers from NIWA show that temperatures were at least half a degree below average about most of the South Island. No surprises down there, I hear you say. Temperatures were near average along the upper and eastern coasts of the south, and in the North Island, temperatures were near average about most of the island. Those temperatures were slightly cooler than average in the central part of the island, with the coolest parts showing up in the southern Waikato. It was drier than average for much of the North Island. Preliminary figures at this stage show that Hawke's Bay was the driest, with just 20 to 40% of their average October precipitation. Most of Northland and Auckland were also dry, 40 to 60% of their average rainfall for the month of October, and the rest of the island got at least 60% of their average October rain, which is still well below what would have been expected. Southern Waikato saw the most, with rainfall totals slightly above average, bucking the trend there. And the South Island was fairly wet. Most of the island saw above average rainfall, the only exception being central and eastern Otago and the upper and northeast regions of the island, where rain was at or slightly below average. Well, in Australia, Weather Zone reported this week that a wet and windy morning marked the end of Melbourne's warmest back-to-back October days in 18 years as the month came to a close. Showers developed in Melbourne Wednesday night as a low-pressure trough passed over the city ahead of a cold front. By 9 a.m. on Thursday morning, the city had recorded 3 millimetres of rain, although falls were heavier in the east. Ferny Creek and Mount Dandenong both recorded 15 millimetres, while Coldstream's 14 mils and Scoresby's 10 mils were the highest totals since September. The showery change on Thursday morning marked the transition from a hot air mass to a cooler one, which is a common occurrence in spring. That change brings an end to the summer-like temperatures over the last 2 days of October. Tuesday and Wednesday both climbed above 30 degrees, making them the hottest consecutive October days in 18 years. Now, in contrast to that, highs Thursday struggled to get above the mid-teens, so it was shorts and jandals one day and I guess wrapping up warm and hoodie the next. Well, the weather map for next week looks to see a developing ridge of high pressure bringing some settled weather to much of the country for the majority of next week. As we can see, the isobar is not even covering New Zealand here. It's nice and clear, very nice picture, and that's what we want to see if you're not keen on the rain. The week could start off a bit wet for parts of the North Island though, as a low is expected to be hanging around. So early next week, clouds and light showers may be tough to clear out of Northland as that ridge of high pressure really takes over and starts to sweep the last of that rain out. A developing front to our southwest could bring some late week rain to the deep south, as we've been forecasting all week, and that front is going to sweep through, but where exactly and what parts of the island it's going to most affect, we'll know a lot clearer early next week. Well, that's all from me. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.